Hey guys, for this occasion, I'm going to talk about one of the two films I saw last month, and that is A Monster Calls. I was already sold by seeing trailers of it. While downloading it, I saw another film that caught my interest, and that one was The Monster. Out of the two monster films, I think this one is the better film. Not to say that The Monster was bad, it's really good, but in terms of writing, character development, and a genre that's different than a horror movie, A Monster Calls nails it with a hammer. The movie is about a kid named Connor, whose mother is facing terminal cancer and is getting picked on by a school bully. One night at 12:07 in the morning, a tree-like monster appears in front of Connor and tells him that he will tell 3 stories at 12:07, and once he's done, Connor has to tell the 4th story to the monster, which is the truth behind his nightmare. While that's going on, Connor has to deal with his strict grandmother, his father who can't stay with him, his dying mother, and the school bully that keeps torturing him. The story is amazing and great. I'm sure we're familiar with what this movie is. It's a coming-of-age story with some real topics involving a person dying from a disease, and a boy trying to cope with his mother's condition. This is also really dark. There are some sad and brutal scenes that will get a reaction out of you, like the first time you see the bully.
Good boys don't talk.
Jesus, that's pretty harsh and really terrible. Another example is when Connor destroys his grandmother's living room. I couldn't believe what I just saw. Once she comes back and sees the damage, things go downhill real quick. Besides that, there are good moments, like Connor hanging out with his father, the monster telling his stories, Connor talking with his mother, and so on. The characters are also great. You can sympathize with Connor. We want him to pull it together before he does something stupid. We've all been through a rough time when our loved ones died from cancer, accidents, and other conditions. The grandmother, while strict and stern, she's trying to do her best while accepting the fact that her daughter is dying. The father is a complex character. He wants to be there for his son and his dying ex-wife, but so many things come in the way that he can't control it. The cast did wonderful in this movie. Felicity Jones did great as the mother. Toby Kebbell was great as the father. Sigourney Weaver was mixed for me. She's supposed to play a British character. There are times when she maintains a British accent, but there are times where she's just right back to her normal accent. Regardless, she does a good performance. Liam Neeson is phenomenal as the monster. The way his voice sounds is just creepy and spine-chilling. He can be scary and very intimidating when he glows. Every time he walks or moves, you can hear twigs and branches snapping, pulling, and burning, which makes the sound design of this film really top-notch. While I think Liam Neeson stole the show, Lewis McDougall takes the cake. He nails it at playing a 3-dimensional character. Whenever he is laughing, crying, angry, or anything else, he just steals every scene. Out of all the new kid actors that we have today, he's one of the best. The effects are spectacular and well made. The way the monster looks is superb and awesome. Liam Neeson does the motion capture for the monster. In certain scenes with the monster, some of it is practical effects. They made a gigantic head and fist of the monster and blended it with CGI. Kinda like how they made the gigantic foot, arm, and head of Kong in King Kong. Speaking of Kong, there's a great scene where Connor and his mom watch a 60mm print of King Kong at home. During the ending, while Connor looks through his mother's art book, you can see a painting of King Kong on top of the Empire State Building. That's really neat. I love those scenes. Whenever the monster tells the first 2 stories, it's done in this watercolor effect and it looks great. I love watching each transition with a splash of different colors. You can take screenshots of each stories and hang them on your wall. It's that good. The music and score is nice. There's no pop song that ruins a sad scene or a jump scare that startles you. Each scene takes its time to establish the situation and create some great atmosphere along with the score. Sometimes it'll be quiet, which I think is better without any score, but despite that, the score is really good and amazing. One of my favorite scenes is when the monster tells the 3 stories. The first one is about a prince who is trying to rule a kingdom. The second story is about an apothecary who makes medicine, and a parson tells the people to not accept the apothecary's medicine. The third story is about an invisible man who wants to be noticed, and the last story is Connor's nightmare. If I had to choose, the third one is my favorite. For one, it's not an animated scene. 2, it shows what Connor is going through since the bully said that he hopes his mother gets better. Whether it's the rub in his face or not, Connor has reached his breaking point. Lastly, the monster telling the story is once again spine-chilling and gives you goosebumps. Since this is about an invisible man, can you imagine him telling the story while clips of the invisible man pop up? Hell, I'll do it.
There was once an invisible man who had grown tired of being unseen. One One day the Invisible Man couldn't stand it anymore. He kept wondering, if no one sees you, are you really there at all?
What did the Invisible Man do?
He called for a monster.
There you go. Hopefully some of you don't get nightmares from that. The scene where Connor and his grandmother see his mother on her deathbed is one of the best scenes, and trust me, it'll get to you. I usually don't cry when something like this happens, but for some reason, it broke me. I never cried that hard since seeing John Coffey die on the Green Mile. Around 15 minutes in the movie where we see the 12:07 time slot, I predicted that it may have something to do with the mother later on, and honestly, I was right. Anyway, a great scene, and if you do see it, be prepared, because it will pull your heartstrings. Overall, should I recommend A Monster Calls? Without a doubt. Mind you, this isn't a movie intended for kids. It handles a lot of issues and they're not pretty. I only recommend it if your kids are in middle school. If you're going through a rough time after losing someone and you wanted to see this film, just be warned on what the movie is going to be about. If you want to see a coming-of-age movie that has good characters, great acting, phenomenal effects, a wonderful score, and a well-told story, I wholeheartedly recommend it. Find your monster and join the ride.
Come on.